What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sideline Podcast. My name is Adam Flores, and today I am joined by my guy, Christopher. Today we're going to be getting into a couple things, including some mock drafts that we both did. We're also going to get into another segment of the other two divisions that we didn't cover. But, Chris, we got to address something. Audio issues. We got to address the audio
Yes. And I
issues.
think you owe me an apology
I
for
really do.
being the worst audio technician I've ever worked with. And I've recorded over like 200 podcasts probably. And this has been the most treacherous, deplorable,
Okay, all right.
disrespectful, really, setup of audio I've ever seen in the
Hey,
history of my life and 10 lifetimes over.
hey,
But
listen.
anyways, dude, glad to be back. I digress. Glad to be back. The audio shit is no joke, guys. I mean, that shit is not easy. There's a reason why not everyone just fucking figures this shit out. It comes with the territory, you know. So we apologize for the last episode. The audio was really bad. That was on us for not doing any sort of quality control to make sure that it sounded good before we taped the whole hour and a half. And that comes with experience. And we do apologize if you listened the whole time. Thank you guys for that. We got a good episode for you today. And like I said, Adam, I was just kidding about all that. You know, I fuck with you the long way. And I'm
Hey, what you
excited to
mean the
get into
long
this.
way?
I think
Hold
you
on.
said,
What you mean the long way?
what do you mean? You've never heard anyone say that before?
No, I've
It's
never
because,
heard
look,
that.
if you fuck with somebody in a short way,
Uh-huh.
it's like you're only going to fuck with them for a little bit. And then you're kind of like just moving on, right? But if you fuck with somebody in the long way, it's like even if we stop talking for a little bit in the long term, I'm always gonna be there. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's I don't know. It's what the streets say.
Hey, I mean, I'm not familiar with the streets, I guess then, but that's
Just
more
hey,
your
that's good for
territory.
you, brother. Yes, sir. I'd be banging Little Dirk every day.
Pause.
No homo on that. No
No.
homo on that. I mean, you know, when you go in the car, you put your music on, it's
Right,
banging. That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
I mean.
You mean like
Anyways, I
bumping.
hope.
Like
Yeah. I think you said not mock drafts, right? You
or
said
yeah,
mock
I'm sorry.
trades.
Mock drafts, mock trades.
I
It's
was
kind
like,
of
I am not ready for a mock draft right now.
no, not at all. So later on, hopefully, we'll be doing a mock draft for fantasy purposes, but not for real life, because we're just not that in tune with the actual NFL to where it's let me see who's gonna cook up who, you know. But I think it would be fun
Wild.
to do something sort of to where we do a mock trade in the NFL, including draft picks. So whether it's somebody trading up for a certain player in the draft, like if it's the Raiders trading up for Shador Sanders or whatnot, or it could be something as simple as Debo gets traded to the Steelers. You get what I'm saying? So I think it's something that we can do along those lines. I do have one cooked up. I don't know if you want to let me go first or you go first, but I think it's
Well, okay, hold on. Before we do that, celebratory beers. Cheers, guys.
hey, I got my
This
water.
one is for y'all. Well, stay hydrated there, Adam. I'm gonna indulge really fast, and then I just want to say, Steph Curry is still the greatest basketball player of all time.
Hey, he
He
did
dropped
drop a
56
60 bomb. That's
56 points
crazy.
on 9 from 12 from 3 and 12 from 12 from the free throw line. No big deal. I just wanted to say that and put that out there into the universe. You guys will thank me one day for being such a Steph Curry homer. But, anyways, yeah, I do
Did you
have
actually see?
an
Did you actually see
interesting.
a fun fact about Steph Curry real quick? Those he has three separate games where he's dropped 50 or 45 plus points on the exact same day.
Right,
It was on February 27th.
right. Yes, that's called Steph Curry Day, my guy.
It's called Steph Curry Day now. I don't know about before, but it's definitely called Steph Curry Day
No,
now.
yeah, that's what it's called now. I mean, because Jesus Christ, the
Yeah,
guy
no,
is a fucking beast, man.
it was crazy.
And I mean, I watched that game in full because that game was it was a Wednesday night, and it was they were playing in Orlando, so they start at 5 o'clock here, so it was like right after work. I saw that shit, and I literally saw every single bucket, and I was bittersweet because I had a parlay, a season-long NBA parlay that included one of the legs being that Steph would not have a 50 points game this season, and he did it right in my face, and I should have never doubted him, and that's what I get for doing that, and that's on me, and shame on myself. I should go jump off a cliff.
Go jump off a cliff. You didn't say how tall that cliff had to be though.
Right, that's the caveat. I'm
It
not
could.
jumping off a high cliff, guys.
He's just jumping off a
Just a
rock
small one,
wall. Relax.
Yeah, nothing crazy. Anyways, let's get into this. Do you want to start with your first? I mean, I only have really one that I really
Yeah, no,
think
I've
is
only got one.
plausible.
I've only got one myself. It's kind of
Right.
a
I didn't
hot
want to.
take, kind of not.
Well, mine is more. I could see mine being a little bit more realistic,
Okay.
but um, it's not like going to be like super crazy of a trade. Like I'm not sending Tom Brady to fucking the Jets for a compensatory pick in the 2039 draft or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, go ahead. You start with yours.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so what I cooked up was a trade between the Jets and the Cowboys, right? Jets come on the clock, and I truly believe that Ashton Genty is going to be a Cowboy, one way or another. The only problem is that I only see one true team standing in the way of that, and that is going to be the Chicago Bears. The reason I would be the Cowboys, if the Cowboys were smart enough, which I know Jerry Jones is not, but if the Cowboys were smart enough, you trade up to get the number 7 pick with the Jets. So the Cowboys would receive the number 7 pick, and then you draft Ashton Genty at number 7, and you also get Olu Fashanu, which is their, I believe it's their left tackle or their right tackle. Don't quote me on that, but I know he's a tackle. He's a young tackle. He was a first round draft pick last year. He wasn't anything like extremely spectacular this year, but he was very solid. So when you're the Cowboys and you've lost recent talent on the line, you go and get someone like Olu Fashanu, which is a very young player, the one that has a lot of potential ahead of him, and you also get Ashton Genty, and you're young right there. You already got your piece that you need. You already got your young tackle that you need. And then as the Jets, you fall back to number 12, and you also get pick 44 from the Cowboys, and then you maybe throw in a 2026 third round pick or fourth round pick. And with that, I believe that the Jets can grab their number 44 pick and the number 42 pick that they currently own. They trade up to the number 33 pick with the Browns, which would be the first pick of the second round, and you go ahead and you draft Jackson Dart, which would be your future quarterback. And I believe Jackson Dart has a lot of potential. I also recently said on social media that I believe the Cowboys should draft Genty and also find a way to draft Jackson Dart, because Jackson Dart is a very young quarterback that does need a lot of development, but knowing that you already signed Dak Prescott to a multi-year deal that is going to keep him there for the next 3 years, whether he's injured or not, I truly believe he's going to stay a Cowboy until that contract is over. So if he doesn't pan out, kind of like a Kirk Cousins situation, you already have that backup, sort of like a Michael Penix and Kirk Cousins deal that was going on in Atlanta, you know? So you have that backup, and you go ahead and you bring in your development quarterback, and hopefully he can get things turned around. But for now, I do think that the Jets should trade back, and then they get Jackson Dart with their first round of the, or their first pick of the second round.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good haul of picks too for the Cowboys to give up. Um, I don't know if. How do you know that Gianti's is worth all this? I mean, yes, he had a good year with Boise State, but I don't know if the Cowboys are just a running back away from really like fixing all of their problems. I mean, if you think about it, the biggest problem with the Cowboys was they couldn't really stop the run. And then also sometimes all they would do is drop into zone and just get burned all day, every day. The Cowboys had offense, and they use backs that are not even household names, and they were still getting decent production out of them. They can get rid of Zeke. Zeke is completely out of the picture now. But I don't know if the Cowboys would give up that much simply because they have so many other like holes to fill. But I could see the Jets kind of falling back, and because they're more in a rebuild mode than the Cowboys are. So it does make sense for them. And then to grab a young quarterback that they could develop. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is out of the picture. I don't even know if they have any other quarterbacks on the roster that are worth a damn. So it does make sense for them to try to to take a quarterback early and start that developmental process along with the rebuild, which the Jets always seem to be rebuilding. But I like it though. You went pretty hard there, dude. I was like, God damn, this dude's like, who is this? Is this what's his name?
Mel
Todd McShay
Kiper.
on the other
Oh.
line? Jesus Christ! Holy
No, I
shit!
I know. I was
Congratulations, that
like,
was nice.
thank you, thank you. I was so that's kind of my point is the Cowboys were able to produce on offense last year, right? Even with Cooper Rush as their backup quarterback. The only thing is that when you have 1,000 yard rusher in, I think it was Rico Dowdle was their 1,000 yard rusher. When you have Rico Dowdle as a 1,000 yard rusher, and he wasn't even anything spectacular, you put Ashton
Right,
Genty there, who can break tackles, who can go through the tackles. You know, you don't have to get an
right.
end around, or you don't have to get a toss for him to get to the outside. So when you get a generational talent like Ashton Genty, I do believe that he is definitely worth trading up for.
He's like a mini Derrick Henry at this point, right?
Right, exactly.
But I mean, like I said, the only reason that I believe that this wouldn't work is because you have so many other options around your team that you could go and use these picks to fill these holes. You know what I mean? Because the Cowboys are going to be strapped for cap space again, so don't expect them to go sign any big free agent. So they're going to have to look at the draft to figure out how are they going to plug up those holes, and giving away that many picks, that's going to really hurt. I mean, that's going to, yeah, they're going to fill it in a sense where they're going to be short at the linebacker position again, which led to them not being able to stop the run. Short at the cornerback position again. It's the same story over and over again, and I think people like to glorize the Cowboys running back. They want to see an Emmett Smith back there, but it's like, dude, right now as a Cowboy fan, I just want to see the team improve altogether and not necessarily get just better at the glory positions.
Right. I mean, I think last year was kind of a bad year. You know, you had Dak Prescott obviously hurt half the season, and he didn't
Right,
perform the first half of the season, so you couldn't really say whether he was going to make a comeback the way he did 2 years ago or not. But
right.
you got to also take into consideration that Micah Parsons was also hurt a majority of
Yep.
the year, and Lawrence was also hurt a majority of the year. So when you say that they couldn't stop the run, well, they didn't really have anybody to stop the run.
But injuries are going to happen, so you still need those next guys to step up. If the next guy on your roster would be a third or fourth stringer anywhere else, then that means that the talent gap is too big. You need to close that talent gap at the positions like your defensive end, your top rusher, right? Your pass rusher, your running backs, your not running backs, your middle linebackers, your corners that are going to be in and out due to injuries all season. You have to have depth there, and that's where they were lacking because if Michael Parsons was in the game, nobody knew what to do on defense, and nobody could get to the quarterback. So it all trickles down, which is why, like I said, I don't think running back should be the position that the Cowboys target, especially to dedicate all those resources. That's typically what Jerry Jones would do, and that's why I don't like this because this is something he would do.
I don't, see, I think quite the opposite is I don't think Jerry Jones is smart enough to even do something like this. And truthfully, I think Ashton Genty should be a Cowboy. I don't truly think he's going to be a Cowboy. I think that he gets stolen by someone else, or I think Jerry Jones is like, oh, well, everybody thinks we're going to take Ashton Genty, so let's go ahead and do the complete opposite, trade back, and then maybe get a second round talent, but you get 2 picks out of it. Because they do have I mean, they have a high spot. They got the number 12 spot. It's right outside the top 10, so they can get multiple picks for it if they do decide to trade back and get second round talent instead. And a lot of people say that there's a lot of depth in this draft, so you go and get a second round halfback and a second round quarterback that you can develop, or a second round wide receiver to help out CD Lamb on the outside. But I don't know. What about your trade?
Last thing, I don't even see, um, I don't see Giante falling to 7. Actually, looking at who's ahead of them, the Raiders, the Jaguars, the Patriots, the Giants, the Browns, the Titans. I mean, you said it yourself, generational player, right? I'm sure any of those teams ahead of New York would like to would like to secure the services of the way that Giante can run and what he brings to the rushing game. The physicalness, like I said, a middle, or not a middle, a little Derrick Henry at this point. So that's another thing to consider. But I was looking kind of more at a trade for Debo Samuel, right, from San Francisco. San Francisco has one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 picks in this year's draft. They have a one, a two, a three. They have two threes, a four, a five, a six, and a seven. So these guys are all over the board this draft. And Washington, on the other hand, has about the same amount of picks, but they got 3 7 rounders actually,
Oh,
and a five, a three, a two, and a one. And so I could see them, the Commanders, trying to package something. I don't know about player wise. They would have to add some players, I'm sure, uh, to make the salary match, unless Washington has that much cap space to use, which I wouldn't be surprised if they do. But I could see them going and using like a not. I don't think Diego's worth a second round, but maybe like a three, a five, and a seven, and then trading him maybe like I said with some salary fillers, and then bringing Debo to the Commanders alongside Terry McLaurin. Like you said last podcast, he can take the top off of defense. And
hey,
that's
there
really
you
what
go.
Adam is all about. You take the top off, Adam is there. So I think pairing him with Scary Terry, Debo, and Scary together, one on each side, that would give Jaden Daniels some more weapons as a young quarterback. I think that's very important to have those veteran wide receivers that you can just throw the ball up to and let them go get it in situations where you're getting pressured a lot. So I would think something like that would be interesting for both teams. Samuel doesn't seem to be happy in San Francisco anymore. They have other options right behind them too. So I could see a place where he would be trying to seek a move to a more competitive team. I know it's within the conference. It's not within the division though, so that's more likely to happen. But I could see like that, something like that shaking out, and the Commanders building off the momentum they had this year, really saying, "Hey, we need to step it up. We need to compete with Philly in the offseason, so that way when we get to the regular season, they're not the clear favorites to win the NFC East."
I don't really have a problem with the Debo going to Washington, except for the fact that I think Washington is very okay right now on offense. Debo, I don't think would be someone that they could go and get. I mean, they probably could. Don't get me wrong. San Francisco already wants to get rid of him. Debo wants to get out of there, and he's not getting any younger, which is the problem for me of him going to Washington. Washington picked up older players this year, and it seemed to work out. They picked up Austin Eckler, they picked up Zach Ertz, they picked up Bobby Wagner on defense. But I think where they're lacking is defense, and they weren't able to stop the pass. They weren't able to stop the run. They had maybe one or two solid all-around players aside from Bobby Wagner that were able to be consistent throughout the season. And when push came to shove and they played the Eagles, I mean, you have so much star power with Philly. You have Jalen Hurts, you have Saquon, you have AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, and then even Dallas Goedert at the tight end position. But I don't think you combat offense with offense when it comes to Philly. I think you need defense for that offense, And I think that's one thing that
Well,
Washington does not have.
okay, well, if we remember that game, the last game of the season for the Commanders against Philly, they were very, very much in that game, and that was with Zaquan going off, right? And there was multiple drives that Philly had where they were going to be stopped within field goal range, where they were bailed out by some questionable calls. I think there was 3 drives that the refs bailed out Philly, got them a brand new set of downs, and they went on to score. So I think Washington, they they're not as far off defensively as people think because they withstood Zaquan's best game of the season pretty much. And we're still in that game in Philly in the snow. So I still think they had a very good year, and their defense is, I would say, people don't give them the respect that they deserve. I mean, they were one of the top teams in the NFC all year. And so I think the best thing to do as a team like that, I know Debo's not the youngest, but you have a young quarterback. You need to win now. They have 82 million in cap space. 82 million.
Yikes.
So that they're ready to make moves, and this is the time to do it. You don't sit there with 82 million with the young quarterback on a very team-friendly deal. You need to be aggressive, and you need to get him help. That's what makes these young quarterbacks thrive is having weapons around them. So go get him, Debo, and you heard it here first. They're gonna start taking the top off again.
Hey, there you go. I mean, I don't know. Debo didn't have the best season by the looks of it. I mean,
He didn't even play that much.
he played
I don't
15
remember
games.
him
Okay,
playing that
so
much.
look at this. He played 15 games this year and had 670 yards receiving. Okay,
So
back
you
in
think he's 100% healthy though? If that's the
well,
case,
look at this. Back in 2020, he only played 7 games, half, and he had 400 yards, which is only 200 yards less than what he had playing double the amount of games. I don't know. Personally, to me, I just think Debo's lost a step. I don't think he goes to somebody like Washington. I think he does leave San Francisco, but I just really don't see him going to
he's
Washington.
he's going to the Patriots or what?
Oh God, if he goes to the
Just
Patriots,
kidding.
it's
Just
over.
kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just
Nah, I'm
kidding.
just
I'm
kidding.
just kidding. What about the Jaguars? Just kidding.
Honestly,
Just
I
kidding.
really could see him in a Jags
I'm just
uniform.
throwing teams out there. He's gonna end up with Dallas. Watch all of this to end up a Cowboy. God damn it. The
He's gonna
CD
end up a
lab. Him and
Cowboy.
CD
Oh God,
bitching about opportunities all game long. I can
I
see
just
it. Mark it
yeah.
down. Mark your calendars, folks.
Debo's just such a diva when it comes to targets. He just doesn't
All
shut
right,
up about it.
dudes. So on the last podcast, we broke down two divisions, right? We broke down the AFC North and we broke down the AFC West, correct?
Correcto.
So today we wanted to fly by and break down the AFC South for you guys, and then we're gonna break down, not break it down, just our
Just
thoughts
kind
on
of talk
AFC
about it.
East, and then sports trivia at the end. As you guys remember, I mopped the floor with Adam last time.
Yeah, that
It
was
was
embarrassing.
disgusting. And then what's funny is that off mic or off air, he's like, "Can we keep the trivia to the NFL,
To
please?" And
the
I was like,
NFL.
"Yes." Yes,
Yeah.
because I already know, and you got your ass kicked with the NBA, and I told him he needs to step it up because to me the NBA is right there for with me in the NFL. So I'm gonna talk some NBA, so you better be able to keep up. But let's get into the AFC South again. Which team do you want to start with?
I think we should start with the division winners, which is the Texans. I think that's the easiest team to cover right now. I don't think they are a team that has a lot of questions, but they definitely got some important questions. Kind of just, I mean, they have C.J. Stroud going into his third year in the league. I think he came off of a little bit of a sophomore slump, but he doesn't have help at the line. How do you think they address that in the offseason, or do they address the line in the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's probably one of their biggest concerns is how can they keep CJ Stroud from having to be flushed out of the pocket on a almost like on a play by play basis. It felt like you rarely saw him have the ability to sit back there and read the defense and make the right throws. But like you said, going into year three, if the organization is thinking the right way, that's their main priority going into the offseason is how do we build the line to get this guy some more time. Joe Mixon, does he stay relevant? I would say yes. They're going to need that running back that they can rely on, especially once they get down to the goal line. I think what they also need to do is they're going to have to get a wide receiver. I don't think Stephon Diggs goes back to Houston. I don't feel like
No, he
there
was
was
on
a
a
lot of
1 year
chemistry
deal.
there. Yeah, 1 year deal. He's probably looking to get another bag, which I don't blame him. And I don't know if Houston's the place to go for that. But, they do have some weapons on offense. You saw some of their young wide receivers emerging this year. Tank Dell had an unfortunate injury as well. So that's one thing you can't account for in the NFL is the injuries. And, one thing you can count on is there will be injuries. You just don't know who or how bad they'll be. And, we'll see what they do in the offseason coming after a season where they did win the division. A division where, you know, winning that division's not the biggest deal because the teams aren't the greatest, but
Yeah, there's not a lot of
still
competition
NFL,
there.
yeah, NFL division winner regardless. I mean, you were doing something right that year.
Yeah, like you said, I think Joe Mixon does stay relevant. Personally, Joe Mixon isn't one of my favorite backs in the league, but that's a story for another day. I think he's still a great running back. I think he's still a great pass catching back, but he did deal with his fair share of injuries as well. Same thing as Stephon Diggs. And like you said, I don't think Stephon Diggs comes back. I think he does leave, and honestly, I think he goes to Dallas. But that's a story for another day. I see him and Trayvon, brothers, and Jerry Jones feeding into the whole storyline. But I do think that they need to go and get a wide receiver in the draft, particularly. I don't think Nico Collins is. I everybody sees Nico Collins as an elite wide receiver, and maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I
Not
don't know
yet.
ball,
Not yet.
but yeah, I don't see him as a true elite receiver, and he's not getting any younger either. He's been there for a couple years already, and for him to barely break out in I couldn't even tell you how many years he's been in the league, but I don't think he gets any better from here on out. I think he does have a good solid year again this year, but like I said, I just don't truly believe that he is the elite wide receiver that they need. And Tank Dell to come off of a gruesome injury yet again, I mean, he's just had an unfortunate series of events for him to be so young and for him to not get that opportunity in the league that he deserves and that everybody thinks he deserves. So I think wide receivers their top priority aside from offensive line. But we can also talk about the second team who almost made the playoffs. They were one game short. They were there with Miami. They were there with Cincinnati, and that's the Colts. The Colts have a lot of
Well,
holes on their team, I think.
okay. So one thing, one sorry about that. One last thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I pulled up Nico Collins really fast. He will be 26 going into this NFL season.
Really?
6'4", out of Michigan, in the 21 draft.
I honestly thought he was
So
older.
yeah, so he's still young. He's still very raw. And then also think about it. He's playing with a very raw quarterback too. So I mean, if he
Right.
was playing with someone like Matthew Stafford or Jared Goff, this guy would be more prolific. But I do think I'm with you. I'm not ready to call him a number one, but I think he has that potential to still reach that ceiling. And I think just with more consistent play, more consistent offense, and opportunities, and staying healthy, of course, maybe he does develop into that. But those are the last thoughts on the Texans. I was curious. I didn't remember where he went to school. Out of Michigan. That was interesting. So, one thing on the Colts right off the bat. I have never been the biggest JT supporter,
Okay,
and
hold on. Let's hold
I
on right
think it's
there.
time. I know, and I said this before. I think it's time that we, kind of relinquish him as a top 10 fantasy back or just a top 10 back in the
Wow.
league.
Wow.
Talk about somebody that deals with injuries. Jonathan Taylor should be the fucking the little, how there's the jump man for the NBA. He should be that for like band-aids and like
For
wraps,
band-aids.
medical wraps.
Hey,
This guy's
it's
always
hard to
hurt.
stay healthy when you're an elite running back, you know? I mean,
No,
this
I
is
understand. I mean, I'm not knocking him, but I'm just saying, look at Derrick Henry. Like look at Joe Mixon too. Backs like that, older than this guy. Zaquan's probably the same age as Jonathan, and I mean, you could just look at the difference between the way these guys play. But yeah, that's just me personally with the JT thing. I'll let you defend him. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Jonathan Taylor is an elite running back, and no matter what anybody says, I'm a huge supporter of Jonathan Taylor. Yes, he does deal with injuries, don't get me wrong. It's very annoying when you're his very own fantasy manager, but hey, he won me a title. He scored 40 plus points. Okay, relax. He won like 40 plus, or he scored like 40 plus points in a playoff game for me. So that's very important. But you look at his game log, and he had that 1,800 yard season in 2021. He led the league that year, and everybody was like, okay, like that's it. Like he's the number one back.
Uh,
But when you put up 1,800
oh
yards, it's
man.
very hard to do it in back-to-back seasons. Everybody knows that. So the next season, he only played 11 games, still got 800 or almost 900 yards. And then in 2023, only played 10 games. Again, dealt with injuries. He put up almost 800 yards again. And then, where am I looking? Oh, and then this year, he missed 3 or 4 games, and he still put up 1,400 yards. So to miss 3 games and put up 1,400 yards, I mean, you're averaging over 100 yards a game right there at 14 games with 1,431 yards. I think he's an elite running back. Who I don't think is elite is Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson is a bust. I don't
Hold
think he
on, hold
deserves to be
on,
in the
hold
NFL.
on, hold on. Don't transition this fast. Hold on,
Okay,
hold on,
okay.
hold on, Sean McVay. Or not Sean McVay. What's his name?
Who?
You know who I'm talking about.
Sure.
Okay, shot. I mentioned him earlier.
Oh,
Anyways, hold
okay,
on.
sure.
You said something about being a running back that went back to back for 1,800 yards
No, no, no,
in
no.
two
So,
seasons.
no, no. I'm saying that he put up
What was that
1,800
stat?
yards. He put up 1,800 yards in 2021, and everybody was ready to be like, okay, like that's only his second year in the league. He's elite. He's the guy. He's gonna run the league
Right.
for a decade. But when you put up 1,800 yards, when you put up 2,000 yards like Derrick Henry and Saquon, if you look at their next year, obviously it's down from
It's
that year
hard to,
prior.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
And
You're
you
not
said
gonna
that
put up
everybody
2,000.
knows that would happen, right? You're like, everybody knows that's impossible for that to happen again.
Right.
Does
Exactly.
everybody know that? If you go around and ask you just anybody at Walmart and be like, do you know that it would be very impossible for Jonathan Taylor to have another season like he just had? Everybody would be like, yeah, yeah, of course. Like,
Yeah, of
I don't know if
course.
everybody just knows that. But anyways, I'm just giving you a hard time. I'm buying you a Jonathan Taylor Christmas jersey
Hey,
or
thank
a
you.
jersey for Christmas.
Much
I
appreciated.
didn't know you had such a affinity for the guy.
I do.
I would have not been so hard on him, but Jesus Christ.
You know, I
Yeah,
remember in his 2021 season, I remember I was at a Christmas party and they were playing the Patriots on, I think it was the Thursday or Sunday night game. It was one of those. And he went off for like 200 yards against the Patriots, and ever since that game, I've just absolutely loved him. Like, even though it was against my Patriots, I was like, this guy is fun to watch. Like, he is electric. Any single time he touches the ball, he has the possibility to break off for a 70-yard touchdown. And that's what's dangerous in the league when you have somebody like that. When you have somebody like Saquon, when you have somebody like Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor who can just any given moment, boom, there he goes, a 70-yard touchdown. It's just phenomenal to watch.
hey, dude, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, not the biggest fan. Anyway, Anthony Richardson. I think he does start. I think he has to start for this team again. Um, you can't give up on these young quarterbacks that fast, especially if they go out from an injury or something like that, where you didn't necessarily bench them. You actually just you couldn't play them because of their health. I think you have to give him another shot this year. Um, he's shown his ability to get out of the pocket. He's not afraid to run, which is kind of problematic in a way, but still young, still developing, and I think as the Colts, you have to do right by him and give him another chance at the starting position. You have nothing to lose, really. I mean, you're not going to be favored to win the division again this year. So you might as well just try to roll the dice on the young quarterback again and see if you have anything there. And then after this season, you can reassess if you don't like the way that he's playing. But I think he does need to start for the Indianapolis Colts this year.
Yeah, I would completely disagree with you right there. I think they need to bring somebody else in, and maybe he is the starter, but I think they need to bring somebody else in to kind of give him the boot that he needs and be like, hey, like step up your stuff and get into the role that you need to be. So,
But
um,
like speak about help. Who does he have?
yeah, you're right. He doesn't really have anybody. He has like
He
three
has
wide
nobody.
receivers. Right, exactly. He's got three wide
Right.
receivers that everybody's like, oh, he's the guy. He's the guy. Um,
When
but
you have three number ones, you have zero number ones. So that there's nothing there. They got nothing in the backfield. They have nothing as far as any skill players that can help take the pressure off them with quick slants or little screens like that. I mean, this is comparable to Bryce Young in Carolina. You have these young quarterbacks, and you guys, not you guys, but everybody expects them to be the best right away. Like people don't understand how hard it is to be a good NFL quarterback. You look at somebody like Tom Brady or like Tony Romo or any of these elite guys, and you just take them for granted. And teams that are dysfunctional and have young quarterbacks that cannot give them the support they need as far as weapons and protection, it's not always the quarterback's fault. I mean, what do you guys want these dudes to do? They're young, they're 20, 21 years old, playing in the NFL. It's a whole new level. I mean, you have to give them some support. And a lot of times these teams are so quick to move on. I don't feel like it's fair. I used to be a quarterback back in the day, you know what I'm saying? So I never got my shot. So that's probably why I'm talking about this. But, anyways, I think one more year for Richardson. And then, like I said, move on next year if you want. But Give the guy a fucking chance, man. Come on.
I don't know. I just think they've given him a chance already, and he put up he put up 1,800 passing yards in 11 games.
Yeah, throw it to the ground.
Still, I don't. I
Who do
mean,
you want him to throw to?
you have 1,800
God,
yards in 11 games. I think I could name about four
Jesus.
quarterbacks off the top of the dome that have put up 1,800 yards in like three
I want to
games.
see Adam go play quarterback for the Colts and see what he does. Because Jesus Christ, none of us would do well there. Joe
Yeah,
Flacco was there, and like Jesus, poor guy was probably like, you know what? I'm gonna just retire for good now. Because good God, this is awful out here.
I don't know. I just think when you play the majority of the season, sure he was hurt, sure he was benched. When you play the majority of the season and you can't even put up 2,000 passing yards and not even double-digit touchdowns, that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough.
Wow, wow.
He was,
Adam the critic here.
yeah. I
Okay,
mean,
so if that's the case, going to the third team in this division, the Jaguars, right? Trevor Lawrence, you could probably say the same about him that it's time to move on now.
right. I
If you
agree.
think even more so with Trevor than Anthony Richardson. Trevor was a consensus number one pick when he came out of Clemson. So I mean, he's been given opportunity upon opportunity upon opportunity. They've surrounded him with wide receivers. You've seen them go out there and make moves to get better at skill positions. Trevor Etienne, solid running back. Health concerns with him, but like I said, with the running back position, that is going to come. But if that's the standard that you're holding Richardson to, I would say that Trevor Lawrence should have already been gone out of the number one quarterback position for the Jags. But I do think that he's still slated to be there this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's under his multi-billion-dollar contract at this point. They signed him to. I know I'm gonna get this wrong, but I think they signed him to like a 5-year, or $200 million contract or something like that. It was something lucrative. He's one of the top paid quarterbacks in the league right now. So he will be there, unfortunately. I'm also not a Trevor Lawrence believer. I don't know. I just think this whole division has struggled for years and years and years. And obviously, one of them gets to the playoffs every single year. But like you said in, like you said at the beginning, it's not hard to win this division when you're the Titans, when you're the Jags, when you're the Texans, when you're the Colts. You have one good year and you're the division winners. Like you don't really have to do much. You know, Derrick Henry took the Titans to the playoffs in 2019, and I think he single-handedly took them to the playoffs that year because I, I I don't think Ryan Tannehill was all that, but that was Derrick Henry's team, you know, and I don't think this is Trevor Lawrence's team. I think this becomes Brian Thomas's team. I think they should build around Brian Thomas. I don't think they should build around Trevor Lawrence anymore. I think they should use Trevor Lawrence kind of as like trade bait and see what they can get out of him and possibly move on from him and get a high draft pick and go and get someone else in the draft or go and get a good free agent, not just a backup like Daniel Jones. Like maybe go and get Sam Darnold or maybe get Justin Fields and develop somebody like that, somebody who hasn't necessarily had a chance, or go and get them as a backup. And when you have Trevor Lawrence go down because he is very prone to being injured recently, you have that backup and you can develop him when Trevor Lawrence is out. So I think that's something that they should do, but I don't think Trevor Lawrence is the answer in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and Jacksonville, another one of those organizations that you always kind of wonder why can they never put it together, right? I mean, sometimes you look at their roster and you're like, hey, this it's not that bad, but for some reason, I mean, it never seems to work out for them. I think they're picking top five. They are picking top five this year again, so that's their chance to add another solid pick to their team. I don't think they go quarterback or anything like that. I think they still have faith in Trevor, and then we'll see what they do at the running back position. Brian Thomas solidified as probably their number one going forward, and we'll see. I mean, like we were talking about, AFC South, not a good division. Have yourself a year, and you could be the division winner. So, last team in the division, the always terrible or always mediocre, right? Tennessee
Always,
Titans.
yeah.
I don't know if how good they'll be again this year. I know they're gonna be in the market for a quarterback, that's for sure. Tyler Boyd, also a free agent this year. A good amount of upcoming free agents for the Tennessee Titans. Mason Rudolph, on the free agent list as well. They'll be active for sure. Besides the draft, they will be active in the free agent market. But it's hard to call it with the Titans this early. One of the teams that it's hard to gauge really how good they are because one game they play really well, and then the next game they're the Cleveland Browns of the AFC South. So, what do you think about their prospects going into this upcoming season?
Yeah, I don't think the Titans are one of those teams where there's nothing exciting about them whatsoever. I don't even think the draft pick is exciting for them, and the player itself that they draft, whoever they get, whether it's Abdul Carter or whether it's Shador or whether it's Cam Ward or I'm blanking on the other guy, but
I don't think they
whoever.
get. I don't think they go with Cam Ward. There's no way.
See, I think they might, and I don't think they should, but I think they might. I think they go and they get Cam Ward, which I don't think will be the answer. I don't think Cam Ward is football. Everybody says that this draft class is terrible, right? Which I completely agree. I don't think any of these quarterbacks are elite. I don't think they're going to be elite. I think the one who has the most potential is the one that I've already talked about the most, which is actually Jackson Dart. He might need a year or two to sit on the bench and to develop. I don't think he's going to be a pro ready, day one. I don't think any of these guys are pro ready day one. Shador would probably be my top option over Cam Ward. Actually, I just don't like Cam Ward. I've seen him play over there at Miami, and I don't like some of the decisions he makes. Some of them are very rash. I think some of his play style kind of reminds me of Prescott. A little bit reminds me of Tua, kind of where he's just super indecisive when it comes to making those quick reaction uh, throws or making those quick reactions out the pocket. And I don't know. I don't really like his play style, but I don't think they go Cam Ward. I think they should go Abdul Carter. I think that will be the answer in Tennessee to kind of keep them in games. They were in a lot of games throughout the season, and I think they can develop Will Levis maybe a little bit for another year. I don't think Will Levis is an absolutely like dog water quarterback that everybody says he is. I think he can get you a good 7, 8 wins, but you need to give him the
Dog
opportunity to
water.
stay in games. I think Abdul Carter is something that can keep you in games and somebody that can help you on defense and help you on offense actually by keeping the the defense off the field.
Dog water. Interesting expression there.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
about you, but my dog's water is pretty clean, so I don't understand why people
Hey, but who's
associate dog water with being a bad thing.
hey, but who's drinking out that bowl though? Who's drinking out that bowl?
Hey, it's my dog. It's
Is
the dog's
exactly
a family, right? I mean, that's my guy, you know. So his water's gonna be crisp and clean all day, you know.
right.
Anyways,
Crisp and
dog
clean.
water. I don't know. Scratch that one. Cam Ward, I think, is actually probably gonna be the best quarterback out of this class, just because I think his style of play will transition easier to the NFL than some of the other ones. Plus, he's got size. I know that he does throw a lot of interceptions, but he's gonna throw the ball a lot, and he's got a big arm. So, out of all the quarterbacks, I think he has the highest potential. But it's so hard to call. So a lot of it depends on which team you land with, and who your coach is, and who your OC is, and how they run the offense. So, going forward, the Titans do need a lot of help, and I don't think, like you said, I think Levitz is good enough to kind of keep them afloat, and he's still young too. So I mean, I don't know if they go with another quarterback right away. I feel like they would go with Carter number one, and then try to figure out what to do with the quarterback situation later down the line. But yeah, AFC South. Division. I give it like a C plus, if you will. They're
Actually,
passing,
I would give it
they're
like
passing.
I would give it a C minus. I don't think they're passing at all.
Yeah.
I,
Adam's a very critical person,
I
guys.
am.
Very
I
critical.
think if the Texans
You
weren't
know,
in that division, I would easily give them an F.
yo, chill. He's giving Fs to NFL teams out here.
I
Anyway,
am.
so let's fly through the AFC East really fast. We got the Bills, the Dolphins, the Patriots, the Jets. Let's start with the Jets. We already talked a little bit about them. You had them in your mock trade scenario with the Cowboys. Obviously, we all know Aaron Rodgers not the answer. Does he retire? I would say yes. I think he's had enough. I think he's ready to go do bong rips with his boys somewhere, in California. getting ridiculously high and then ordering some Domino's. You know what I mean? Sounds like a great time, by the way. I don't know who their quarterback one is. I don't think he's probably on the roster at the moment. They're probably going to be aggressive, or not aggressive, but active in replacing Rodgers. And I do think that Devontae Adams will probably, between him and Garrett Wilson, he has the more likelihood of being traded, because I think that Garrett Wilson, still being as young as he is, still has a future with the team. And I would rather get rid of Devontae Adams. He didn't really show a lot with the Jets this year. It was hard. It was almost like every wide receiver they brought in, like Mike Williams, another wide receiver, didn't really do much with the Jets or with Aaron Rodgers. So I think we closed that chapter on the Jets, as short as it was. Very small chapter. My favorite types of chapters, by the way, short ones, especially when you're reading a book. I think it's time to close that and move on. What do you think about this, Adam?
Yeah, I think you said it beautifully. I think it's time to move on. There's not much to say about the Jets. You know, they got Brees Hall, who's a solid back. I don't think he's going anywhere. Garrett Wilson, I think he should go anywhere else but the Jets, but I think they bring him back on a fifth-year option, and I believe it is his fifth year, but they bring him back on a fifth-year option, and I don't think he goes anywhere. I think he will and continue to request a trade, but I think he stays there at least for the time being. I think Devontae Adams is actually the one that has the better likelihood of going somewhere else. So he'll go to the Jags, or he'll go to the Cowboys, or he'll go to the 49ers, or anybody else but the Jets. I don't think. Their QB1 right now is Tyrod Taylor at the moment, and they said that the team actually came out and said that they're comfortable enough to move forward with Tyrod Taylor, but I truly don't believe that. I think that's a front that they're putting up.
T-Mobile?
T-Mobile, yeah. I think they're putting up a front,
Uh,
and I think they go and, like you said, be active in either free agency or in the draft and go and get themselves a quarterback one.
Shout out to T-Mobile, bro. What a career he's had.
Yeah,
The
he's
guy,
been in
you
the
got a
league for a
punctured lung,
long time.
and by the medical staff. I believe he was with
The
the
Chargers.
Chargers when that happened.
Yeah.
So that guy should win the next, like, what
Comeback
is
player of
it?
the
The
year.
next, yeah, 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 or something. They need to give that guy some sort of. They need to make a T-Mobile award
A
for when you
T-Mobile
get
award.
fucked up by the team's medical staff and they perform medical, like, mal I don't even know what to
Medical
call it. Medical
malpractice.
malpractice. There you go, on you. And you survive and you keep playing football. You don't retire. You say, "No, I'm going to keep playing because I love this game. The game doesn't love me, and neither do the doctors." But they need to
And
make
neither do
a
the doctors.
T-Mobile award. T-Mobile will probably sue them for naming it after T-Mobile, but
Well, hey,
Tyrod
maybe
Taylor.
T-Mobile could be the sponsor.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, somebody in T-Mobile marketing needs to get at me and cut me a check for this, because this is brilliant.
I
And the
mean,
NFL is
T-Mobile
always looking
already
for
got
marketing ideas.
T-Mobile already got Patrick Mahomes. They can get Tyrod Taylor.
Right. Who can't get Tyrod Taylor, right?
That's
You
what
know what I
I'm
mean?
saying.
He's with the Jets now.
Exactly.
Anyways, those are my thoughts on Tyrod. Great guy, I'm sure. I'm sure he's a stand-up guy. I really, really have thought that his career is very interesting, a very crazy story to follow if you follow NFL quarterbacks. Moving on to your team, the Patriots.
Yes, sir.
Probably in my book, the worst team I've ever seen in the NFL without Tom Brady
Okay.
or or Bill Belichick.
Wow.
Probably the worst excuse for an NFL franchise. Probably in the worst city in the world, in Foxborough. Nobody likes it there. They don't
Wow.
even like it there.
Wow.
What else could I bash about the Patriots? The only good thing that that area of the country has done is started the revolution against the Brits.
It
That's
started
the
the
only thing I'm here
revolution.
for. That's the only reason that I'm allowing them to keep the name the Patriots, because other than that, they're just god awful. They're dog water, as the kids say, which
Dog
may
water.
not be that bad after all. But okay, enough Patriots slander from me. I'm not even going to talk about the team.
Well, you know
I
what?
just
I'll
want
go
to
ahead
talk
and talk
about how
about the
much I
team.
hate them, and I'm going to let you talk about them.
Well, as a
But yeah,
Patriots
the
lover,
Patriots, worst,
we're
worst NFL franchise ever.
so I think we're going 10-7 next year. I think we're making a wild card run, and I think
10
it's a
and 7.
Cinderella
Wow.
story. I think it's a Cinderella story. I
Oh
think they
my
go to the
God.
divisional round, and then they end up losing to the Bengals in the divisional round. It's a New England Patriots and Bengals divisional round, because they're gonna get through the Bills in the wild card, and then they're gonna get through the, or I'm sorry, Yeah, they're gonna get through the Bills in the wild card, and then they lose to the Bengals in the divisional. I think that's how it rolls. But that's just me being a delusional Patriots fan. I think what they actually do is they take a step forward this year, and I think they win 5, 6 games. I think that they go ahead and I think they really should address the offensive line, but unfortunately, I think they might actually move forward with Travis Hunter. I don't think Travis Hunter is the answer in New England, but I think they do take him if he still is on the board at pick 4. I think they should go offensive tackle, or I think a lot of mock trades that I've, or a lot of mock drafts that I've seen, Abdul Carter actually falls to 4 and he goes to New England. I don't think that will happen, but I think that would be great. Obviously, they need help on defense, they need help on offense, they need help everywhere except the quarterback position and maybe their cornerback position. I think Christian Gonzalez is an elite corner in the league. I think Drake May can be a solid quarterback in the league. I obviously am not calling him top 10, top 20 even right now, but I think he's uh, entering that conversation of, okay, do we look at this kid as a developing quarterback where he can become an elite quarterback like Jaden Daniels had this season, or a lot of people believe in Caleb Williams, a lot of people believe in Bryce Young. I think we look at Drake May in that same light and be like, okay, let's give him a couple years and let's let him develop and see what he can do rather than moving on the way they did from um, Bailey Zappi or from Mac Jones. But I think the future's bright in New England. I think that their moves with Mike Vrabel was phenomenal. I think he's a great coach. I think they should have hired him last year. I don't think they should have even had Gerard Mayo. But maybe that was all part of Robert Kraft's elaborate plan in getting a high draft pick this year. Who knows? But other than that, I think the Patriots are solid. I think they're going to become second in the division. That's just me. They're going to be second in the division this year. I don't think there's much competition. The Dolphins are not much competition. What do you think about the Dolphins?
Fun facts about Foxborough.
Oh God, here we
One
go.
once home to the world's largest straw hat factory, built in
Hey.
1886 but burned down in
Oh.
1936.
Oh.
Named after a British statesman, Charles James Fox, a British Parliament member who supported the American Revolution. Foxborough was settled on land purchased from Native Americans in 1664.
You know, I hate you.
Um,
You know what, guys? I hope you know that episode 4 is not going to include Chris. Actually, I don't even think episode 5 or any episode from here on out is going to include Chris. I don't think he should be on this podcast anymore. So,
that's gonna be the running joke on this podcast is that I'm
everybody,
not gonna talk about the Patriots ever. I'll
everybody say
talk
goodbye to
about
Chris.
Foxborough.
Bye, Chris.
I'll talk about the city of Foxborough. Lovely people there, I hear. Lovely people there. I'll talk about them. I'll talk about the climate, the weather there, the parking situation at Gillette Stadium.
The
But I'm
parking
not going to talk
situation.
about the actual team
God
as
damn.
long as Adam is on this show with me. But let's moving on to the Dolphins, though. Miami, beautiful place. I've heard beautiful, nice
Shut
palm
up.
trees, the ocean, big buildings. Anyways. Um, I think Tyreek will. I don't know if he. I don't know about Tyreek anymore. I thought
Yeah.
once his first year with the Dolphins, he looked good, and then this year he kind of was all over the place. And Tua was actually better this year than the previous year, which is kind of like, well, how did that happen? But then Waddle kind of fell off the face of the earth, and then Achan wasn't as explosive as the year before. So the Dolphins are a team that seem to be like in limbo, and they're just going up and down, just kind of floating in the sea. You know what I mean? Kind of like their city will be if this climate change thing gets any worse. But I digress. Um, I don't know. The Dolphins, I don't think are as good of a team as their record showed this year. I think they got lucky in some games. I do like Tua, but I don't know if he's that leader that you would want as your quarterback position. And I still think they have good weapons on offense. They have some good defensive players as well. They had their linebacker, I forget which one, their main linebacker that they had last year. He got hurt in a game that I was watching. So that really stifled the defense going forward. But I don't know. I don't think they will make the playoffs this year, in my opinion. But how do you feel about the Dolphins, Adam?
Yeah, I hate the Dolphins.
You hate the Dolphins?
I
That's
hate this.
fine. That's good enough for me.
I hate this
I'm
whole
not a big
division.
Dolphin fan either.
No, but I
Yeah, this whole
think
division is ass tits,
yeah, it
which I
is.
don't know if that's better than dog water, but it's ass and tits at least, right?
It's ass and tits.
Um, so yeah, this division not my favorite either. I mean, it's historically been won by the Patriots. The Jets have historically been bad. The Bills were good for a long time in the '90s, and then now they're in their resurgent mode with Josh Allen. Uh, I don't know if they repeat as division champs. I would probably have them as the favorites, honestly. And then you know, they also do need some help as well on the offensive end. They traded for Amari Cooper, which I thought was a good move, but then he always seems to disappear in big games. It feels like so. I don't know about the Bills. I think they are solid. I really like their Keon Coleman. He's from Florida State. I think it's time for him to have a breakout year. I feel like they didn't target him enough. He's what, like 6'5"? The guy is a monster.
Yeah, he's
Um,
huge.
He's huge. So I think they need to utilize him. And I don't know. I think they still have potential to get back to the playoffs. I don't know. Like I said, they are the favorite probably to win the division. But as far as going to the AFC Championship game, a little too hard to call it again for the Bills this year.
Yeah, I think Keon Coleman can be a great jump ball wide receiver. I mean, like you said, his stature is 6'4", 250 pounds. Like he's huge. He's
He's huge, bro.
Yeah, he's a big wide receiver. I think what he does need to develop is his route tree. I saw some of his routes, and he's kind of just he looks like a go route person. And when you're 6'4", you shouldn't be a go route person. You should be all over the field. I think when you're 6'4", when you're 215 pounds, and you're a 21, 22-year-old wide receiver, I think you should be unstoppable. You should be all over the field, used in every single position on the outside, in the slot, you know, end arounds, everything. And I think he can be that, but I do believe that he had some on slash off the field issues this year where there was a lot of I think he had gotten suspended, or not suspended but benched for a game or two because he had locker room issues. And that's the problem with some of these young guys, is they think they're Mr. Know-It-All when they come into the league, and oh, I'm Mr. Hotshot because you guys drafted me high. But in reality, when you go to the NFL, you don't know anything. You can be a bust or you can be a superstar in a sixth round like Tom Brady. So you don't really know anything when you go into the NFL, and I think that's the problem with some of these guys, and I think that's a problem that maybe he's having. But I don't think they need to go and get a wide receiver. I think they have the wide receivers that they need. They just need to develop them, and I think Keon Coleman can be that centerpiece for Josh Allen. Um, Running backs, I think they're actually really great with James Cook. James Cook had a fantastic year. I wasn't a believer in James Cook before this year, and I am now. I'll tell you that. I saw him, and he was very electric on the field. Where they do need help, though, I think is defense. I think they got a lot of defensive holes, and
That was premature. That was premature. My
yeah,
bad. Keep
but
going. My bad. I was
I
gonna come in with the James Cook line, and I was gonna be like, "That boy was cooking."
oh man,
That's what I was going
you
for.
know how many times I've heard
Um,
that joke this offseason? That's pretty bad.
I know. That's why I wanted to drop it. But yeah, they do stand to lose Ty Johnson as a free agent. So that will probably be a bigger indicator that they're gonna look to Cook more and kind of have him as the what is it? The
Bell cow,
so
bell cow.
the bell cow back. There you go.
Wow.
Amari Cooper, he's slated to be a free agent. Along with Mac Hollins, another wide receiver there. So Jordan Phillips on the D line is probably a big name that they'll try to re-sign. But right there alone, with those two wide receivers departing, let's say they don't re-sign any of them, that should open up for Coleman if he can get his head on straight, like you were saying, and then they can patch up some of the defensive areas that they need. But yeah, Buffalo, um, a lot of potential with that team, and James Coleman alone has a lot of talent if he can get it together.
Hold on a minute. You just said James Coleman. You had two players
Or
in the same.
Keon Coleman. Sorry, my bad. Who's James
Who
Coleman?
is James Coleman? I think you're
Who
thinking
is
of
James
James
Coleman?
Cook and Keon Coleman.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I did. I combined them,
Yeah.
like if they had a baby. James Coleman.
Like they had a baby.
Colorado State Senator James Coleman. Wow,
Wow.
let's look at this.
Congratulations, Senator.
James Rashad Coleman is an American politician who is currently serving as a member of the Colorado Senate for the 33rd District. Nice to know, guys. People in
Oh man.
Colorado probably are looking at me like, you don't know who James Coleman is, bro? It's James Coleman. Come on, bro. Like,
That's
yeah,
like that's
it's
like you're in El
America.
Paso and you don't know who Oscar Leeser is. Like, come on.
Yeah, dude. Come on, bro. That's James Coleman. No disrespect. My bad, brother.
My
All
bad,
love.
brother. Shout out James Coleman.
Shout out James Coleman. He
Oh,
just made up a name.
for fantasy purposes, I do think that the best team in the AFC East is going to be the Bills yet again, and in the AFC South, the Texans. They just both have I mean, they're the division winners, and or most of the time, the division winner teams have the most fantasy relevance. But when it comes to, I think the Patriots, they don't really have anybody fantasy relevant. I think the Dolphins also do have a lot of fantasy relevance. And then the same thing with the Colts. It's number one and number two in the division. They both had fantasy relevance, but that's just a little side note. You got any other thoughts on the AFC East before we move on?
Nope, just more facts about Foxborough, but we can
Oh,
save those
okay.
for another day.
Yep, save that for another day, please.
Adam's gonna hate my facts about Foxborough segment.
Oh man,
And
I
I think
hate
that's
it.
gonna be a weekly thing that we do. And then
Whatever.
we're actually gonna go to Foxborough and see if he likes it.
Hey,
And
how
we're gonna
many?
go like in mid-January when it's colder than ass.
Hey, how many Super Bowls have the Patriots won in the past 20 years?
Foxborough, built on Native American
Okay,
lands
okay.
in 1664.
All right.
Population as of 2016, 6,661,475 Americans. True-blooded patriots over there in Foxborough. Anyways,
You know,
I
you're a
think it's
madman.
time.
You're a madman.
I think it's time, Adam,
I think it's
for
time
our sports trivia
for.
segment.
Hey, there you go. Okay, sports trivia.
There you
If you
go.
guys
Some
have
horts.
not tuned in for episode 1 and episode 2, go back and watch those. Go back and like and subscribe to this video or wherever you're listening to it on, Spotify or YouTube. It helps out very much. Just drop a like, just drop a subscribe. You know, it's free, right, Chris? It's free to hit that subscribe
It's
button.
free.
It's free. You don't have
It's
to pay
always been
anything.
free.
Even if you don't
You
have
know,
Spotify Premium, you can follow.
right. In a world of economic turmoil, guys, with tariffs being thrown around and the cost of food and living altogether rising, one thing that is free and will always continue to be free, as long as me and Adam have anything to say about it, is hitting that goddamn like button and
Yes, sir.
subscribing and sharing and
Yes, sir.
tuning in and leaving a comment. All that shit, guys, is free.
It's free.
Free from the bottom of your little heart
And guess what?
or big heart.
All three of those things, liking, subscribing, and commenting, takes what? Maybe less than a minute of your time?
Maybe like 35 seconds if you're really
Maybe.
fast, because I'm
Yeah.
pretty fast, you know what I'm saying? But,
Yeah, I mean,
anyways, guys, think
but
about
yeah,
it, okay?
yeah. Thank you guys for listening. If you have made it this far, if you're familiar with it, congratulations. If you're not, our sports trivia, we go on our website of our choosing, and then we go and grab a statistical stat line. Is that even a sentence? Statistical stat line? I think
That was probably the worst
that was
use
pretty
of the
bad.
English language I've heard all day. Yes, sir.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Good. So hold on. Before we move on, here you go. There, you get that.
Okay. Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
job
Thank
there,
you.
Adam. There,
So basically, what
Adam
happens
boy.
is okay. Basically, what happens is we both conjure up a question, a trivia question. We both conjure up a trivia
Oh.
question, and both of us have to guess the other's question. I'm not. The English isn't English in here.
You are describing this so bad right now. We've done it the same the
I
last
know.
two
I know.
episodes. Okay, so pretty much this is what
Okay.
we're gonna do. We
Go
have
for
an
it.
NFL stat, and we have a top 10 list of the players that hit that NFL stat, and we have 5 guesses to get as many of the top 10 correct. Okay, and that's how the sports trivia works. I don't know what Adam was saying. He was just rambling.
Dude, my English
He's
is
like,
not
we go to
English
this
English.
website. There's this button you click. You download this file, and then you gotta unzip it because it's compressed.
You
And then you
gotta
take the
unzip
top off the defense, and then you go to Foxborough on vacation in January. And I was
Oh,
like, what
man.
is he talking about? It's that easy. Okay, so I'm gonna start
All
with
right, go for
mine
it, go
so I
for it.
can lay the foundation.
Yeah.
Because if I let you start, good God, who knows where we're gonna be?
Oh, that's my bad.
All
That's
right.
my bad.
Jesus Christ. Wow. Okay, anyways, guys.
Wow.
So, and this is stats from this past NFL season, Adam, okay?
All right, let's do it.
So I'm setting the table there. I'm looking for the top 10 most receptions by a running back.
Whoa. Hello
So
there.
no tight ends, no wide receivers. No quarterbacks that play wide receivers. No Taysom Hills in this list. So you got 10 on the board. You got 5 guesses to see how many you can get right. After that, we'll compare his score to my score and see who wins the trivia this week. What do you got, Adam? Top 10 most receptions for running backs in the NFL last season.
Okay, I gotta go Devon Achan.
Number 1. So he's got 1 on the board, kids.
Oh man. Okay, I have obviously a second guess. It's very obvious, but he missed time. I'm still gonna go it anyway. I gotta go Alvin Kamara.
Number 2, right
Okay,
there. So
beautiful.
2 for 2 so far. We're hot. We're red hot. We're smoking.
They're smoking. Okay, number 3 I feel would have to be. I'm gonna go with Bijan Robinson.
Number 3, Bijan Robinson. It's almost
Beautiful.
like you're reading this list verbatim. That's weird.
It really is. Okay, number
Hmm.
4.
Hmm.
Interesting. Number
Interesting.
4. Okay, number 4 is where it gets rough because there's a lot of injuries with running back this year. I gotta go. Okay, give me Jameer Gibbs.
Jameer Gibbs, number 7. So you're 4 for 4 so far. One more guess to run the gauntlet here.
Dang. Okay, this is
The
rough.
suspense is killing me.
The suspense is killing me. I don't think Saquon hit. I don't think Saquon was a pass catcher at all. I don't think Derrick Henry was either.
Okay, well, you got to pick one. You can't pick 3.
Mm,
Let's see. Let's see, folks. Who's he got? Who's he got? Who's he got? Who's he got?
You know what? Give me. Oh, I'm gonna hate this. No, I don't. I'm stumped. Hold on, you gotta give me a second to think. I'm really stumped.
Great podcasting, by the way.
Thank you, thank you. Give me Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs. No,
No.
sir. So 4 out of 5 for Adam there, guys. That's
Okay.
a good.
Hey,
Put your
that's not
hands together.
terrible.
Very valid effort. Very valid effort.
I
There
got
we
the
go.
top three. I got the top three.
You missed Brees Hall, Chase Brown, Javonte
Wow.
Williams, Jamar Gibbs, Aaron Jones, El Paso's own, Rashad White, and James Conner from the Arizona Cardinals.
James Conner.
Good try. Good try.
I should have
Four,
thought of James Conner.
4 or 5. Very, very good. Very good. Aaron Jones. I don't know. I was going to call
Aaron?
you Aaron Jones for
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate that.
You look a lot like him. Adam Jones, maybe.
Adam Jones,
There
Pac-Man
we
Jones.
go. All right. So this is Adam's turn to queue up his question.
All right.
I have to get 5 out of the 10 top players in whatever category that he's going to give me. And I don't know what the category is. So, Adam, take it away here.
All right. So this one's a little different. It's not one specific season. It's across history, but it's easy. Can you name me the last 10 MVPs for Super Bowls?
Super Bowl MVPs?
Super Bowl MVP winners. The
The
last 10.
last 10?
The last 10. Now, there are repeats, so this will make it
Fuck.
a little bit harder because you still have 5 guesses, and you can't say this player, and then you can't say that same player twice. Does that make sense? So,
But then
like,
that means there's not 10.
right, exactly. So you have to. Okay, so let's say I'm not gonna say
So
names.
you just made it even harder for me.
Yes, so let's say Jameer
Yeah.
Gibbs. Let's say Jameer Gibbs were to win a Super Bowl MVP 3 years in a row, right? That's only
Oh my
one guess.
I'm
So-
going to get this like terribly wrong. Okay.
Okay, go for it.
MVPs from the Super Bowl?
From the Super Bowl in the last 10 years,
God,
dating back to
bro,
2015.
what the hell?
So you have 2015 on this list and up,
Oh my God.
including
is
this
gonna be
year.
Impossible.
including this year.
I don't even remember who fucking won the Super Bowl MVP this year. Jalen Hurts,
Okay, there's one.
Tom Brady,
There's two.
2015. Fuck, this is gonna be hard. Matthew Stafford,
No.
no. Cooper Cup.
There you go. There's 3. So you're 3 for
There
4
you
right
go.
now.
Okay. Fuck.
You got one more guess.
Holy shit.
Best you can do is
Pat
time.
Mahomes.
There you go. There's your 4.
Let's go. We got the time. You ain't gonna beat me, son. Not today.
You're
Not ever.
You're so loud. Your audio's cutting out. and it makes it 10 times funnier. Oh shit.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. What a clutch one right there.
That
And
was pretty
Adam
solid.
totally set me up for failure, guys. He
I lo-
totally set me up for failure.
I'm not gonna lie, I really did. I was really hoping you'd fail.
I'm gonna say the B word. What a mother. I'm not gonna say it.
I'm not gonna say it.
Anyways, so I am in the lead still with the
Yeah,
trivia.
you are with one win. So
Uh,
it's 0 wins
yes.
for me, 1 win for you, two
Yep.
ties.
Yes.
That's how it should be.
So when it comes to sports knowledge, guys, you really should be paying attention to your boy here, because even though he tried to set your boy up for failure, I still tied the man. I
You want to
still
know? You
tied
want to
him.
know the other Super Bowl MVPs you didn't get?
I no, I don't.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna say
Just
it
kidding.
anyway.
Yeah,
So, so
name
we
him.
had Von Miller in 2015.
I wasn't gonna get that one.
We had Nick Foles in 2017.
I'm never gonna get that one either.
And then the only other one you didn't get was Julian Edelman in 2018.
Jesus Christ, Jules.
Julian. That was
Didn't he rap? Wasn't he a
what?
rapper at some point?
Oh, I don't know, but
No,
that's when they
no,
came
that
back
was Cole
against the
Beasley. My
Falcons,
bad.
wasn't it?
No, that was
Oh no,
Cole
wait,
Beasley.
this was the
That's the
wrong Super
rapper.
Bowl.
White
Oh,
wide receiver turned
oh,
rapper, Cole
I do
Beasley.
remember Cole Beasley. He played for the Bills at the end of
Yeah.
his career.
Yeah. Dallas Cowboy legend, Cole
Yeah,
Beasley.
Dallas Cowboy legend. I
Hardest white
remember,
boy on the track
you
since
know,
Mac Miller.
do you remember the catch where he's on the sideline tippy toeing and then he has the football behind his
Yeah, he
back?
catches it on his back.
Yeah, he
Yeah, that
catches
was
it on his
crazy.
nameplate. I'll never forget that play,
Yeah, that
man.
was wild. Hell yeah. Yep, I
Well,
remember that one.
thank you for reminiscing, but thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening to this podcast. If you guys did enjoy, like we said, it's free. Just hit the subscribe button, just hit the like button, and just leave a comment, whatever you want. Just say this video is horrible or this video was amazing and this is the best podcast you've ever listened to. It's that easy, but it helps out no matter what you leave. You know, am I right or wrong, Chris?
He's not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
He's not wrong.
You can leave a hate comment and it helps out. Just remember that. So whenever you're hating on somebody on YouTube, you're still helping them out.
Right. So you're not really hating, you're supporting.
You're
And
supporting.
remember, kids, always take the top off.
Always take the top off. Thank you guys for listening. If you guys liked and subscribed, you guys are beautiful people. See you later.
Peace.